Hey there, Patriots. Hope you're doing well today. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the whole YouTube and Actman situation, but instead of making a video just talking about the situation itself, I'm basically just going to be hammering YouTube over this whole situation. And I'm not going to lie, I'm going to be pretty harsh in this video, and you might even say that I'm going straight for the jugular for this one. I personally have a sort of vendetta against YouTube and its leadership, so I'm not going to be very nice. A few things I do want to say though before we begin is I have no affiliation with the Actman personally. I've just been watching his content for about the last year or so I would say I'm somewhat of a moderate fan of his content. However, I do not have any sort of bias in favor of the Actman. If it was any other YouTuber in this situation as the Actman, I would probably have the same opinion about YouTube and how they're handling the situation. Another thing too that I want to mention is I do not condone any sort of violence, threats, harassment towards anyone involved in this situation, whether it be YouTube, the Actman himself, or even Quantum. Even though YouTube is shallow and pathetic in their way of how they're handling things, and Quantum himself being the villain in all this, I do not condone any sort of acts of violence or threats towards anyone at YouTube or even Quantum himself, despite YouTube and Quantum being the villains in this whole situation. The innocent families of these people involved don't deserve the stress and the fear of having their loved ones being threatened and their private information being let out in the internet. So to quickly sum up this whole situation with Quantum and the Actman, Quantum TV made a bad Elden Ring video where he had a really bad take on Elden Ring, and the Actman and other YouTubers made videos mocking his take. But then he got real butthurt about the whole situation and decided to push the big red nuke button and started copyright striking those who made videos about him. Later he doubles down the situation and takes it a step further by calling the Actman's mother, basically threatening him and his family by saying we wouldn't want anyone to get hurt over this. And so the Actman takes this as a threat, rightfully so, and makes a video talking about the situation with his nuking of his and others' content, calling his mother's private phone number, and calling on YouTube to take action. And not only was that video well done that the Actman made, basically showing that Quantum TV had been abusing YouTube's copyright strike system, and pointing out that Quantum TV was not only breaking YouTube's rules and guidelines, but also possibly breaking laws. And so, after when that video came out, surely we thought YouTube would see this and do something about Quantum, but boy, were we wrong. YouTube decides to not take action, and Quantum continues his personal attack on the Actman. And so, the Actman makes another video doing another deep dive into Quantum's dark past. And throughout the video, the Actman shows countless examples of proof that not only was Quantum breaking pretty much every rule YouTube has placed on the platform, but also proves that Quantum has been ban evading for quite some time now. And so, again, we were all thinking this was the nail in the coffin for Quantum. Surely this was going to get him banned. Nope, we were wrong again, and YouTube doubles down with Quantum, basically saying that he did nothing wrong in the eyes of YouTube, despite all the evidence that the Actman provided in the video. Now look, I get if YouTube doesn't want to solely rely on the evidence of one YouTuber who did the fact-checking themselves, because you never know if they could possibly had an error in their fact-checking. But the fact is that not only did YouTube not at least take some account of the Actman's evidence, despite the Actman trying to work with YouTube in trying to prove Quantum's wrongdoing, they just straight up reject his claim. They did not use any of the methods that the Actman employed to prove Quantum's guilt. But at the same time, you cannot tell me that it is justifiable for YouTube to not at least work with the Actman, use his methods of finding evidence, or even using their own methods in part to make sure that they are doing everything fairly to make sure proper action can be taken against Quantum. Instead, they either do a half-ass investigation or they did none at all. Either way, they turned their back not only against the Act Man, but to all the YouTubers involved and their community. YouTube failed the Act Man, YouTube failed its community, and they failed to uphold the integrity of this platform. It is honestly despicable how YouTube has treated this whole situation. Every single one of these people who are in charge of this whole situation should be ashamed of themselves. From the CEO who is in charge of the leadership of this company, to the higher-ups who are in charge of enforcing community guidelines, and to the people who are in charge of investigating such matters. Now, I understand that not everyone who works at YouTube are bad. Not everyone at YouTube are corrupt, money-sucking executives. I get that there are people who, in fact, love their job, and they do wish YouTube would do a better job at handling these things. And I also get that YouTube is a very large website. Millions, if not billions, of videos are uploaded daily to this website. I get that this is a very daunting task to moderate such a large website with so much stuff going on. However, the stuff going on with Quantum has taken over the website. There is no excuse to why YouTube is doing nothing but side with Quantum, with doing very little to no work at all with this situation. Now, as I said before, I have a somewhat of a vendetta against this website, even though I love it to bits, because I grew up here watching people like Smosh, PewDiePie, SkyDoesMinecraft, and all these old school YouTubers that we know well and love very dearly. But it is really sad to see how low this platform has fallen. The leadership of this website is incompetent, corrupt, and completely disconnected from the world of YouTube. These executives are so full of themselves, they don't care what happens to this website, they don't care about what happens to the content creators, and they adore monsters like Quantum. Whether you agree with this take or not, I honestly don't really care. But I firmly believe that these executives and the CEO, Susan Wojcicki, should either step down and be replaced or just down outright fired. Susan and these other higher-ups have run this platform straight into the ground. They treat their content creators absolutely terrible, and they have just basically let YouTube become the Wild West at this point. Now, with all that said, I do not condone the deplatformation of anyone. I believe in free speech, I believe in the First Amendment, I believe that no matter what your opinions are, you should have every right to be able to voice yourself, your opinions, and be able to express yourself in any way that isn't harmful to anyone, and as long as it doesn't break any of the guidelines on this website. However, just like we have laws in the real world that need to be upheld, we need to do the same with this platform too. If you break the guidelines, no matter what they are, you should be reprimanded, rightfully so, whether it be harsh or a simple warning. Anyway, with all that said, I hope you guys enjoy the video. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Make sure to like as well, and also make sure to put hashtag justice for the Act Man in your comment below. Have a nice day, Patriots. I'll see you in the next video.